Archangel Michael says, "You will cry bitterly if you skip this." Jesus is pleading from the highest realm for your protection. A very bad news is being whispered in hell about you. Open it quickly, dear one. This is not a coincidence, my child. Do not let this moment pass like all the others. This one was marked. This one was prayed for. This one is stitched with sacred thread from the highest place beyond the stars. I, Archangel Michael, have stood before the throne with your name carved in light across my wings, and Jesus himself, the one whose voice birthed galaxies, has leaned forward from the highest realm, not to shout, not to command, but to plead. To plead for you. Yes, you. Because something is circling you. Not a curse. Not a danger. But a divine invitation. And heaven doesn't want you to miss it. Not again. Not this time. He sees the way your soul keeps trying to heal in silence. He sees how you smile with grace while carrying an invisible weight no one around you can understand. He sees the nights when no prayer could form, but your spirit still reached out. He sees how long you've waited for a real sign. For a true answer. For a shift that didn't vanish the next day. And that's why this message was released. Not by accident. Not by chance. But because you were ready. Not perfect, not polished, but ready. Heaven doesn't wait for perfection, child. Heaven responds to surrender. And I see you now. We all do. The whispers of doubt that have followed you, those didn't come from God. The silence you thought meant rejection, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Because what's being formed around your name in the Spirit is too holy to be rushed. And now, finally, the veil is thin. That's why you're hearing this now. That's why your heart feels like it knows these words before I've finished speaking. Because this message didn't begin here. It began long ago, before time, before your first breath. It waited until your soul could hear it fully. And now it is time. Jesus has been speaking your name in places demons can't reach. He has been silencing the accusations spoken in the dark, and planting your name into places that carry only light. He's not trying to warn you, he's trying to raise you. Raise you above the noise. Raise you above the wounds. Raise you into the identity he wrote over you before the foundations of the earth. You were never ordinary. You never blended in because you weren't meant to. You were the shift in the family line. You were the healing in human form. You were the yes that answered generations of pain. And heaven wants you to know, the wait was not in vain. Something holy is about to rise in you. Not from outside, not from others, but from within. A voice that has been silenced too long will begin to sing. A strength that was buried under fear will now stand up. And a joy that was postponed will arrive, suddenly, quietly, but fully. The angels are not standing by watching. They are moving now. They have been cleared. Because you are being covered in a new way, sealed in a deeper way, and seen in a higher way. This is your appointed time. And child, please don't miss it. Heaven is not asking you to be strong. It's asking you to be still. Heaven is not demanding your perfection. It's calling for your permission. Let the breakthrough come. Let the silence break. Let the past dissolve into purpose. You don't have to understand how it will happen. You only need to open. Open your heart. Open your ears. Open your soul. The one you thought forgot you has been fighting for you. Jesus himself has placed his hand over your timeline and whispered, "Nothing shall steal what I've written for this one." This message was not sent to scare you, it was sent to remind you of the power that still breathes in your bones. This isn't a warning. This is a welcome. A divine invitation. And all of heaven is watching, waiting, for your next word, your next move, your simple yes. You don't know how many times Jesus has stood before the courts of heaven and said your name, not in anger, not in judgment, but in deep, divine affection. You have been on his heart like a melody that refuses to fade. And even when you questioned your own worth, even when you sat in silence asking if you were still chosen, still seen, still loved, he answered by calling the angels forward. He said, "Cover them again." They don't even realize what's about to be birthed from their pain. And we moved. We moved without hesitation. Because when heaven hears your name from his lips, everything obeys. There is something ancient in your spirit, something older than your current battles, something more powerful than your mistakes. You have survived things that were never spoken aloud. You have walked through seasons that stole your breath, and still, your spirit kept rising, didn't it? That's because you were born with something they couldn't break. That royal thread, that divine blueprint, that fire of God's own design, it lives in you. It was never removed. It just waited in silence until this very moment. And now the sky is opening for you. Listen closely, you are not cursed, forgotten, or behind. You are right on time. And Jesus is not trying to bring up your past, he's trying to awaken your future. This message is not about warnings. It is about remembrance. You must remember who you are. You must remember what was placed in your soul before the world tried to define you. You were not made to blend in. You were created to shift the atmosphere, to bring healing in places that have never known peace. You were born carrying answers for wounds that existed long before you arrived. That's why you've been feeling this strange stirring lately. That's why your dreams have been different. That's why you're here, right now, reading this. Because your moment has arrived. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. Heaven often moves in whispers, in timing only the soul can understand. And right now, Archangel Gabriel has already begun writing the new order over your name. I, Michael, have stood before the darkness that was trying to cloud your clarity, and with my sword, I have made a path clear again. No, not easy, but clear. Your feet are about to walk into places your enemies thought you'd never reach. Your voice is about to speak healing into people who once hurt you. Your eyes are about to see the promise that was whispered to your mother's mother in secret. Yes, the blessing is that old. And yes, it was meant for you. And Jesus? He isn't distant. He's closer than your breath. Every time your heart felt heavy and your spirit wanted to give up, He was there. Not shaking His head in disappointment, but reaching with nail-scarred hands to lift your spirit higher than your sadness. You were never fighting alone. You were never unseen. He just needed to bring you to a place where you could finally feel the truth, not just hear it. This is that moment. Let the old shame fall like dust. Let the guilt be washed away by light. Let the burden that never belonged to you be released now. You are not who they labeled you. You are not what you lost. You are not the broken version of your story. You are becoming. You are rising. You are returning to the original language heaven spoke over you when it first imagined your soul. A language of royalty, of destiny, of restoration. And every single angel is watching with joy because they know, you finally heard the call. This is not the end, child. It's not even the middle. This is the real beginning. The one they tried to block. The one your soul has been aching for. And you don't have to figure it all out. You just have to stay open. To trust that if Jesus Himself is pleading for your protection, it's because what's coming is too valuable to be lost. Not again. Not this time. If this message is awakening something sacred inside you, type below, Jesus, I open my soul. I am ready for what you kept for me. You didn't choose to be this strong, heaven chose you for it. And yes, it has been heavy. The kind of weight that sits on your chest in the middle of the night and makes you question whether any of it was ever going to be worth it. But let me tell you something few ever get to hear directly. The strength you carry is the very proof of the royal mantle that was placed upon your soul before you ever took your first breath. The crown was always invisible because it wasn't made of gold. It was made of oil. The kind of oil that can't be stolen, only awakened. And right now, Jesus is awakening it. Do you feel it? That sudden stirring in your chest. That moment where your eyes slightly well up for no reason. That's not emotion. That's alignment. That's your soul remembering something heaven has been trying to get to you for years. This isn't the first time this message has tried to reach you, but this is the first time your heart was quiet enough to receive it fully. The reason Jesus is pleading for your protection is because the enemy of your soul just realized what heaven has hidden inside you. He waited until now to reveal it because now, you're strong enough not to hand it away. There is a great unlocking happening around you, and though it's invisible, it's not silent. If you've been feeling a pressure, a stillness, a pulling, it's because spiritual contractions are pushing your destiny forward. No, not pain meant to break you, but holy pressure designed to birth something through you. You are not in a storm. You are in a delivery room. And heaven is standing around the edge of your spirit whispering, push. Don't give up. Don't delay this. Because the miracle isn't coming to you, it's coming through you. There is someone from your bloodline, someone who passed long before you, who stood in heaven and said, let the blessing come through them. Let the breakthrough begin again in their name. And Jesus, in all his mercy and fire, agreed. That's why things started falling apart. That's why the ground beneath your feet felt unstable for so long. Not because God was angry, but because heaven was rebuilding. Rebuilding everything they tried to collapse around you. Rebuilding your peace. Rebuilding your name. Rebuilding your access to a life you thought only existed in dreams. And you are standing right now on the edge of a life that once only existed in the prayers of your ancestors. Jesus is not just saving you, he is sending you. Not as someone broken trying to be fixed, but as someone healed enough to heal others. You were never meant to just survive this life. You were meant to shift it. You carry presence. You carry language. You carry light. And that's why the enemy has been so loud. Because now you've finally started listening to the voice that's been whispering from within all along. That's why the tears feel different now. That's why the silence feels holy. That's why you feel this strange knowing inside of you that something is about to begin. And you're not wrong. So here is the truth, your name is echoing through heaven right now. Archangel Michael has guarded it. Gabriel has announced it. Jesus has written it in places no man can erase. And all of this is happening because you were never forgotten, never delayed, never discarded. You were reserved. Set apart. Hidden until the hour when your soul would finally remember what the world tried to make you forget. You are royal. You are chosen. You are rising. If this message speaks to your soul, type, Jesus, I receive what you've been saving for me. I am ready now. There are certain messages that do not travel by words. They are carried through the wind, folded into the rhythm of your breath, embedded in the stillness between your thoughts. This one is like that. It is not being shouted from a mountaintop, but whispered into the marrow of your bones. You've been hearing it in the form of restlessness. In the moments you look out of the window and your heart starts beating for something you can't name. In the tears you cry even when no one is hurting you. in the peace you long for even in quiet rooms. That is not emptiness. That is your divine inheritance stirring within you. Jesus knows what you've endured. Every night you swallowed your truth just to keep the peace. Every time you gave while your own hands were empty. Every time you smiled so others wouldn't worry, when your spirit was begging for someone to ask, "Are you okay?" But no one saw. No one asked. Except heaven. Except Him. Every unspoken ache you carried has been poured into a heavenly vessel, and now that vessel is overflowing. Not with more pain, but with compensation. With reward. With restoration. And the timing was not a mistake. You had to be ready. You had to be strong enough to carry what they couldn't. Wise enough to break what they repeated. Soft enough to feel again. Brave enough to face what others buried. And now, because you've stayed the course, even while trembling, heaven has cleared the path in front of you. The blessing is not just coming to you. It's about to overtake you. It's going to feel like something breaking open in your chest. It's going to come through the most unexpected people, in the most unexpected places. You will find notes in songs, healing in random strangers, and confirmation in the eyes of someone you haven't spoken to in years. And Archangel Michael, mighty and massive in his authority, has not left your side. Not even once. Through your disappointments, your loneliness, your silence, He has circled your name in the realm of light. Do you know why? Because there were conversations about you in heaven that you were never supposed to hear until now. Jesus was pleading, not because you were weak, but because of how powerful you were becoming. And power without clarity can be self-destructive. So He delayed it. Not because you were behind, but because He was preserving the weight of your gift until you could carry it with dignity. This is not just your season. This is your elevation. Your legacy is being recalibrated. The bloodline through you is being cleansed. Cycles are being reversed. Emotional chains are breaking without anyone saying a word. You are about to become the answer to prayers someone else cried for a lifetime. That is how powerful you are. That is what your tears were for. And now, heaven wants to reward you for what you never even asked credit for. For the love you gave in silence. For the loyalty you gave to those who never thanked you. For the mercy you gave when it wasn't returned. This is your return. This is your full circle. This is the moment where heaven opens not just a window, but a floodgate. You are being drenched in promises. Covered in clarity. Saturated in divine love that melts every doubt that ever whispered, "You weren't enough." Because now you know, Jesus never left. He was sitting inside you all along, waiting for your voice to rise again. And now, He says, "My child, the angels are rejoicing. You remembered who you are. If you feel the presence of this truth, write below, "I receive it, Jesus. I am ready to walk fully into what you've written for me." There is something ancient blooming again within you. Something heaven never allowed to die, even when life buried it beneath disappointment, heartbreak, betrayal, and confusion. This isn't about luck. This isn't about a random turn of events. This is about divine appointment. A soul agreement written before you were born that today, this moment, you would be reawakened to your authority. And the one who has been guarding this promise, holding it like fire in the palms of his hands, is Archangel Michael. He has walked through every corridor of your pain, collected the fragments of your crushed spirit, and carried them before the throne of the Most High, saying, this one is chosen." You didn't imagine your way into this. You were summoned. Your name was whispered in a sacred place that darkness could never reach. And in that realm of divine glory, Jesus stood, not begging because you were failing, but pleading because your life was becoming so valuable that the forces of darkness trembled at your breath. Hell whispered rumors about you, not because you're cursed, but because they knew what would happen if you ever remembered your name in the light. And now, you are remembering. Not because of what anyone said, but because your soul has started speaking louder than your wounds. You see, the reason you're still standing, after all the storms, the silence, the injustice, is not because you were lucky, but because your roots were planted in eternity. There are parts of you that were never meant to break. There's a fire inside you that has survived battles no one even knows about. And heaven sees that. Jesus sees that. Archangel Michael has been documenting every secret tear, every sacred choice to love when you had every right to turn bitter, every moment you chose peace instead of revenge. And now, all of heaven is rising to honor you. But listen carefully, this is not just about you. This awakening is about the people attached to your obedience. The generations that will be healed because you finally said yes to becoming who you truly are. That child who will feel safe because you chose to be present. That friend who will rediscover faith because of how your eyes carry light again. That stranger who will be pulled from the edge because your words carried oil. You don't even know the full ripple of your yes, but heaven does. That's why Jesus has pleaded so fiercely. Because what you carry, it doesn't end with you. It multiplies. And now, the time of multiplication has come. You're about to see a harvest from seeds you don't even remember planting. Conversations will align in your favor. Rooms you thought you didn't belong in will suddenly feel like home. People who once overlooked you will hear your name in dreams. And the ones who tried to dim your light? They will witness your elevation with silence in their mouths and wonder in their eyes. Because this time, you won't have to fight for what is already yours. This time, favor will find you before you even knock. So pause. Breathe. Let this truth settle in your spirit. Heaven has moved for you. Jesus is standing for you. Archangel Michael is guarding what's next for you. This is not just the start of a new chapter, it's the unveiling of the real story. The one you were born to live. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop it anymore. If this message feels like it was written for your soul, then write this boldly below: I am chosen. I remember now. I will not miss what heaven wrote for me. There's a moment in every chosen soul's journey when the sky bends low to listen. When the veil becomes so thin that even the silence trembles. And this, right now, is that moment for you. Heaven is not watching from a distance. Heaven is leaning close. Jesus is not simply sending angels, he is walking alongside them, carrying your name in his spirit like a sacred flame that refuses to go out. And Archangel Michael, your defender since the day your light entered this world, is not just fighting for you anymore. He is announcing you, declaring you, proclaiming the arrival of the one whose silence birthed strength, whose rejection opened the door to resurrection. You have lived through things you haven't even told heaven about. Yet heaven saw it all. You didn't need to speak, your pain carried a sound only eternity could interpret. Every night you cried alone was a verse in the spiritual song that moved Jesus to speak to the Father about you. Every time you forgave someone who never apologized, a new throne room record was written in your favor. And now, every divine archive is open, and your name is glowing with holy fire. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are being positioned.